keep this kind of short and brief. So I thought Jeff would be joining us. I don't see him with us today. So I'll extend the invitation again, Jeff, Director Elevato. But what I'm in the research phase of doing, and I need more people to work this out with to see if there's a feasible plan. But I've been doing some research on an educational campaign. I think I spoke to both you, Chief Wolf, and Chief Begani about this idea. It's just getting ahead of the game for next year and working on a long game kind of approach to the fireworks ordinance. We don't have a lot of, I don't know what the support would be for banning. I don't think that most people on council think that banning fireworks is a good idea. I think that it's a contentious issue. We get the same people that complain every year, right? Publicly. But we don't get the tens of thousands of people who like fireworks, or maybe it's less than tens of thousands, but we don't get compliments for the most part. So I think one way to approach it, I think, and Councilmember Younger mentioned there's 3 options. He said, you can at the last, right around 4th of July, right after 4th of July, you can ban them. You can put it on the ballot, or you can have a campaign of enforcement where you go through and do a bunch of fining, and then people will know you're serious. Well, I just thought about he's right, there could be a campaign, but I don't think an enforcement campaign is feasible, and especially after talking with you, Chief Wolf, and just knowing the data that, the more interactions you have with the public, the more likely you or they are to be injured, or and it seems like an issue that is it's annoying for people, but it's not imminent harm and threat, except although Chief Begani would argue when people are lighting their whole trunks on fire from fireworks, right?
You mean when they're putting expended fireworks in their trunk that are still hot? Yeah, that doesn't work all the time. So
that's self-correcting.
Yeah, it does. It corrects itself.
So to be clear on a lot of these issues is both fire and police, we do respond and deal with the issues that rise to a public safety issue.
Sure.
And we address that. We have, literally thousands of interactions with citizens a year, and the use of force is 0.0017. So it's not even a percent. So, I just want to hit that. I've heard that narrative a few times.
Okay.
And police have, across the United States, we have about 5.3 million interactions with citizens a year. And out of that, about 1,000 people, and some of them are trying to kill us, of course, or other people, are shot and killed. And that's 0.00178. So it's less than 1% of all interactions. So it's very low use of force and stuff. And that number continues to go down. And what we found too is as people are on camera now and they know that they're being videotaped, that's helping to change some of their behaviors for the better. And we're showing the work that our people do. I really like that. It's just the sheer, and what we were trying to get across last time when we talked about the calls that we did go to on 4th of July, we were going to events that were much higher priority than loud fireworks. And at some point we're out of resources, we're out of firemen, we're out of cops. And the city of Bremerton couldn't put enough cops on the street to enforce fireworks. And if we, the fireman's greatest fear is if we did posse comitatus for the day and we said, every one of you, we're swearing you in as a honorary police officer today, and you're going to go out and enforce fireworks for us too. We don't have enough firemen either. So, that's the reality. Because of what we have to focus on the high priority stuff. And sometimes fireworks is mixed into those high priorities. So like we had one guy a few years ago that was shooting fireworks into the neighbor's house, and then the neighbor was coming out with a gun threatening to shoot him. Yeah, we got all over that one. So, but just oh, you're annoying me because you're lighting off loud fireworks. Yeah, we don't have the resources to deal with that.
Well, when we talk about this capacity issue, we're talking mostly about the day of, maybe even if it's on a weekend, the day before.
Yep.
But really, this is an issue that goes on for weeks. And so I think there's some frustration, but I understand that it's really difficult. You got to catch somebody. I mean, like when there was somebody who was lighting off M80s. I live over by Lions Park, 6 a.m. Thank you for the wake up call. I can't pinpoint where it's coming from. I live near the water, it's reverberates. So I understand the difficulty in actually responding to outside of the day of calls, right? Because you have to actually catch somebody. And
Yeah.
so I get that. So really, so the idea is that I'm researching with multiple stakeholders a way to do a long game educational campaign with the stakeholders sharing who are of impacted groups and like legitimately impacted groups to see if they can just put some information out starting at late May, early June, and maybe we can all collaborate and share each other's information. Maybe these stakeholders will pass it out to their clients, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that there was probably a lot of, and every year y'all deal with it. People are ticked off, on council about fireworks. They get all these emails about fireworks. Parks Department is upset. I do want to honor their work, and I do want to wait till Director Elevato comes because I would like him to kind of share. And so I'm just kind of worried about the disconnect. Maybe he didn't get a link to come. And it's nothing you haven't heard before, but we're about to invest tens of thousands of dollars in that pickleball court, and it's and other, dollars that go into, taking care of and improving our parks. The term he used was, it feels demoralizing that we work so hard to make the parks beautiful and then nobody cares. And our property, the property in the park gets ruined and so let's wait for him to come. I would like him to come and share but really I would like to continue research. I'm going to wait till my other council members are with me next month, and I'm still going to invite Director Elevato to come. But I'm not going to keep this on for the entire year, but I'd like to kind of roll with this for a few months while I get some information together. And then this would really be an item that I would bring up to council as a retreat item next year. So this won't be like this won't be on here for long. I don't have anything else. Thanks for indulging me on that. Does anybody have any questions or any other further comments about the fireworks ordinance?
No, the one comment I would like to make is to make sure that if we can get an educational campaign out there, it's not just the educational campaign about not lighting fireworks or what's legal and what's not. People know. It's educating those people that are upset, like Miss Teresa Walker, who is upset every year. And I understand that she's upset, but I don't think she quite understands what the response capabilities are of the police and the fire department. And if we don't have the resources to sit down in her front yard to protect just her, because our call volumes do go up those days, right? Especially the day of, but we're busy every day. For a perfect example, we were on last month and, you could hear a firework go off at Denise's, someplace around Denise's property, but we can't spend time chasing that. We would have to make a choice. Do we go deal with a structure fire or a cardiac arrest or somebody having a stroke or whatever else, happens to be going on at that time, or try to track down a firework? And police or fire, neither one of them are going to do that. That fire yesterday that came in, it was just a residential house fire. We had resources from almost every department in the county helping with that.
Mm-hmm.
And when we do that, that affects those jurisdictions too. So when we have every unit in the city of Bremerton at a structure fire, then we're calling in resources to help, even though we call back people to help respond to get everybody back into their area. So it's a big snowballing effect. And on the 4th of July, everybody's doing the same thing, right? All the fire departments, all the police departments are handling numerous emergencies. And to be able to educate those people, you know, it's not an option to bring the National Guard in like she wanted to do, right? The governor's not going to give us the National Guard.
I don't know, honestly. There were so many complaints that it was really hard to read every one of them word for word, which I tried to do, but
Right.
I really tried to focus on people in my district, and I don't know how many people in my district honestly complained. So that's why we're split up like that, right? So
right. But I mean, if we look at the true complaints, right, we had 71 people that complained to Kitsap 911 out of 40,000.
right.
Think about the staff hours, just the staff hours this year that we have put into those 71 complaints.
To be fair though, some of those complaints came in online, and some people had, there was at least one report that I know of that the only person that I talked to that tried to access the online form, they weren't sure if it actually went through. It just kept spinning and spinning and spinning. So probably because a lot of people were logging complaints, because it sounded like CENTCOM was referring people to this website.
Right, and that's the way, I mean, over the last, Chief, I don't know, 4 years, I think we've used that website versus people calling in. That we used to have a dedicated line that people would call and just leave a message. But they can't clog up the 911 system because of they don't like the loud booms. We just don't have enough dispatchers, and especially right now, I mean, our dispatch center's running 30% down, 45% down on dispatchers.
I was shocked when I found that out the other day. So we're really having trouble getting 911 dispatchers right now. So yeah, I like, Jennifer, I really liked you know, your line of thought on, you know, dialogue and getting people to discuss. It's not let's get rid of fireworks, but this is the effect of fireworks on me as a pet owner, as a person with PTSD, as a you know, I'm sensitive to this, and here's the effect it has on me. You know, when we put a face with it, when we put a name with it, it's not just those guys. Now it's people that, you know, our neighbors, and you know,
Right.
maybe it's a citywide good neighbor campaign that, I mean, it's not just fireworks. It's, you know, pick the soup du jour, and we use BCAT, and you know, we do some public service stuff, and we talk about, you know, hey, let's be good neighbor, and maybe launch a whole campaign Bremerton wide of, you know, hey, in Bremerton, this is how we're good neighbors in Bremerton. We take care of each other. And we put stories out there of neighbors taking care of neighbors. And, you know, Kylie is another one who is really good at, hey, let's hand this problem back to people to solve for themselves. The government doesn't need to solve it for them.
Right.
And so we, you know, I like taking that and your idea and just kind of giving people pushes and nudges in the right direction, giving them the tools to solve their problems, and then letting them be neighbors and work it out. And, you know, it's not going to work everywhere. We're always going to have that one fill in your favorite explicative person. And yeah, we'll always have them, and we'll hand them off to Gary to deal with. But the rest of them, maybe we can get them. You know, if we reduce it by 10, 20%, you know, I mean, we're moving in the right direction.
I like that, a good neighbor campaign. You know, I mean, I'm just still exploring how to make something like this happen. And so I want to get some more information, some more research under my belt before I make a full proposal. So, and just to kind of go back to what you were just stating, Chief McGanny, I totally get what you're saying. I just wonder, like, it wouldn't be me, it wouldn't be city council creating this sort of information infographic. It would be the stakeholders. And so if you're proposing to make an infographic about the capacity of the fire department, I might throw that back down to you and ask you what that would look like. If it was to, you know, what would that look like within your department if you were to put out a message just stating that, right? I mean, so I'm just handing that back to you.
Well, I mean, that's easy. I mean, to throw
Okay.
comparisons and, you know, I mean, call volumes and everything else that, you know, where we're at.
Mhm.
That would just, it's not there. I mean, the data is there call volume wise. I mean, if you look at it, and just a simple one that we do is comparisons to other jurisdictions in the county.
Mhm.
If you compare us to Paulsville Fire Department, Bainbridge Island Fire Department, and North Kitsap Fire Department, we run more calls in the city of Bremerton than those three jurisdictions put together. And we're doing it with 14 people and they're doing it with 24.
Wow.
So, and you know, BPD can say the same thing. I mean, we're a smaller jurisdiction, but we're busy, and it has to do a lot with our clientele.
Yeah, there's I mean, there definitely is a capacity issue. That's very clear. And y'all aren't the, you know, CENTCOM and, you know, it's not the only agency seeing it nationwide. I mean, we're, you know, well, thank you very much. I like the idea of a good neighbor campaign. Maybe I'll connect with Eric about his concept for good neighbor handbook. But I still want to continue to do a little bit of research on this before I present a proposal. And so I appreciate that you're indulging me on this. Okay. Is there any other, I don't have any other business. Does anybody else have any other business before I